Hey y'all, hey, it's your girl Tay. We are back. It was too good to had to come back because my special guest on this Male Crush Monday, because it's Monday. So on Mondays, I try to have male guests when I can because it's only right to celebrate amazing men. Since my fellas have said, you always have females on here. Well, y'all, I try to include everybody, but so tonight I have one of my favorite people in media. And so I know he's going to say, oh, Tay, you tell everybody that. But no, he truly is a world class, just a real stand up guy, Mr. Walil Archer, Rap Radio. I always say it wrong. Did I say it right? It is the Real Rap Radio Show, right?
Yes, the Real Rap Radio Show.
On downtown. You do it better than me. Give those that are watching, give them your spiel because your spiel is good. Let them. You do it. You do it.
I got you. Peace and blessings, everyone. This is Walil Archer from the Real Rap Radio Show on Downtown Radio each and every Saturday from 2 to 4 since 2012.
Listen, you got the voice. I would listen to you on the radio just for the voice because the voice be voicing. You be doing it. Yes, Data said, we back. Yes, we're back. We're back. We're back. And so thank you so much for getting uncomfortable because normally you're the one that does the interviews and all of that. But tonight you get to get interviewed. How do you feel? Does it feel?
I feel good. Believe it or not, I get invited on a lot of shows. So I do a lot of interviews. I really do.
Okay. So you're a pro in everything.
I wouldn't say a pro, but I'm used to it.
Okay. All right. Well, y'all know that Live with Tay is all about real conversations with dope people that I think that you all should know. And so even if you don't live in the Atlanta area, one thing that I wanted to bring to my out-of-towners' attention is that you have an amazing show that comes on, like you said, each and every Saturday, the Real Rap Radio Show. And it's syndicated, honey. You on iHeartRadio, you on everything. So tell those that are watching a little bit about the Real Rap Radio Show and why they should tune in.
The Real Rap Radio Show started in 2012, and I cover various guests. So from attorneys to doctors to business owners to artists. And I also cover a lot of events in Atlanta, and I broadcast on my radio show. Then I travel. So when I'm out of state covering another event, I also broadcast that on my radio show.
So I'm saying last night he interviewed me and I had to tell my Mama, I made it because like he just said, you have been all over major events, definitely spreading the news about amazing individuals. When did you start your journey? I know you said 2012, but that might have just been when you started the radio show. When did you get into hosting?
Actually, I want to say 2012 as well. I started off as a radio personality, and somewhere between now and then, I started actually doing interviews and stuff. So I probably got about 5 years in. But then again, doing radio, I was doing interviews anyway. So I still would take it back to 2012. Yeah, okay. I would go back to 2012.
And where did you just wake up one day and say, hey, I want to get into media? Tell us a little bit about what sparked your fire to want to even get into media and radio.
Okay. At the time, I was traveling back and forth to Philadelphia, but I purchased a house in Atlanta because I knew I wanted to move to Atlanta. Rather than coming down here and renting a hotel, I wanted to buy a house.
Smart.
So when I traveled to Atlanta, I started hanging out with Old School Saturdays. So Old School Saturdays does an event once a month, and it's pretty big. Mm-hmm. So I would have fun, hang out with them. And then one of them came to me and said, hey, we do this thing in October called the AIDS Walk. Do you want to, do that? I said, okay. Because in Philadelphia, I was doing cancer. I was doing lupus. Mm-hmm. I didn't know anyone with AIDS or HIV. But, hey, since I already hang out with y'all, I'll go ahead and support and do it.
Right.
So after like 2 years or so of doing it, I got a phone call from someone from Downtown Hot Radio that said, hey, next time you're in Philadelphia, I want you to be a guest on my radio show. So I was like, okay. So in my mind, I'm like, why would I be a guest? What I'm going to talk about? I wasn't nervous. I was more so honored. But I walked in blindly because I didn't know what I was going to talk about.
Mm.
So during the interview, she was so amazing at it. Like she did most of the steering of the conversation. She was more talkative. If I stopped talking, she knew how to add. She knew about my
Fill it in.
children. She knew how many children I had. She knew my background. She like really did a whole research on me. And in my case, I put a lot of stuff on social media. So it's not really hard to go on social media and pull up information to do an interview.
Mm-hmm.
So I was so impressed. And at the time, I kind of was interested in radio because of her outstanding interview.
Mm-hmm.
I joined her and another guy, and it was three of us, and we formed the Real Rap Radio Show. So I started with them too, and that's how I got established. And
Okay.
then those two stopped doing radio, and I just kept it going since then.
Hey, you said I'm already in it. I'm gonna keep on pressing on, and you do an amazing job. And so the Real Rap Radio Show that comes on every Saturday from 2 to 4 Eastern Standard Time, right? Uh,
Correct.
what is the basis of your show? What type of music do you play, and what do you want listeners to know as they listen to the Real Rap Radio Show?
I play a lot of hip hop and R&B.
Now, hold on. When you say hip hop, let's talk about this for a minute because I've had this conversation with a few people. Like, are you talking about current day hip hop? What era of hip hop do you play on the Real Rap Radio Show?
It's a combination of a little bit of old school,
Okay.
but new school mainly of hip hop.
Okay.
So the Drakes and the Jeezys and all the ones that's mainstream. That's out on mainstream.
Okay. Okay. Are you a true hip hop head? You're from Philly.
Old school hip hop, yes. So the Big Daddy Kanes, the Biz Markie, the Chubb Rocks, the Big Daddy Kane, Tupac, Biggie, sure.
Okay. But because you are in radio, you have gotten exposed, and you're not biased. You play a little of the mainstream hip hop now as well, correct?
Yep. Like I'll be honest, the mainstream now will be more like T.I., Jeezy, Two Chains, Future.
My goddaughter
Boosie.
the other day that I was old. She said, Jeezy. I said, yeah, I saw Jeezy. She was like, he old? How dare they say such a thing? Because to me, I thought I was being hip that I had seen Jeezy, and she looked at me like, no, that's not what's up. So I don't know. Maybe I would listen. And then do you do R&B too?
Yes, and I do R&B.
Okay. Okay. Uh, Doing the Real Rap Radio Show, who are some of your favorite people that you've had an opportunity to interview?
I had a lot of opportunity to interview a lot of people from Jeezy to T.I. to Boosie. The list go on and on. So I interviewed a lot of people, Master P, Snoop Dogg. So
Mhm.
I had the opportunity to interview a lot of people.
But when you interview them, so was there anybody, because I don't know about you, Layla Hathaway, everyone knows that's my favorite singer. So having the opportunity to interview and talk with her, you're excited because although I love sitting down and talking to individuals, you do have some, she's my favorite. So of course I'm going to be excited to finally have that opportunity. Has there been anyone musically or in entertainment that you were a fan of, and when you finally got an opportunity to interview them, tell us a little bit about that experience if you've had it?
It's a little mixture, a little bit. From
Mm-hmm.
watching them on TV, growing up seeing them on TV, growing up listening to their music, and then I get to see them, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
actually live with them.
Mm-hmm.
I may not seem excited, but I'm more so proud of them, and I'm also proud to be in the rooms. So I think it's a little different than like a fan, if you will.
Okay.
I don't really
It's
feel like, hey,
to give them their flowers. So I was
yeah.
telling somebody else that the other day. It's just an honor to give you your flowers, to let you know how you've impacted music or entertainment, depending on what genre that they're in. So that's pretty dope. That's pretty dope. So you went from the Real Rap Radio Show, but you also host and do things on the red carpet. And so, did that just organically happen, or how did you go from the camera to radio, or radio to the camera?
Well, I would say the camera I started when I was young, probably about 12 years old. Always had a camera, always took the family pictures. I started with a 35 milliliter when they had Kodak. And you had to go to Rite Aid or go to a Kodak store and get the film developed. Then they
You
came
know,
out with
you probably
Polaroid,
don't know about Rite Aid. A lot of people don't know about Rite Aid, but go ahead.
or like a CVS or
Yes.
Walgreens. So then as digital came out, I got excited. So I really started shooting because the disadvantage with 35 milliliter, you can't look at the picture. So if your eyes closed, I won't know until I get it developed. Now with eyelashes, half the images or almost all the images might be people's eyes closed. And because you can't say it like digital, you won't know.
Right.
So now that digital is out, I'm kind of loving taking the pictures because I can look at it and say, now let's do that over. Now let's do that over. And then I can come home and print it out or send it to you and you can print it out and everything more so instantly. And I know what I got. So that's where the love and the passion came from, having a camera. And then since I'm out, I have the radio show. I figured more people can see you outdoors than indoors. So if you're in the studio, you're in four walls, nobody really see you. If a guest come in, you can't really see the guest unless you stream it live.
Right, which is a new form of radio, but back in the day, we only just heard the radio. Now you could stream it and all of that, but before it was just you were listening and that was your only interaction. So yeah, with the, and you said something, so I can't let this pass. I want to publicly say to whoever's watching this on, watching this live or on the replay, I appreciate you. When you take pictures, this is a pep talk for any photographer too that is watching. Let us see the picture and make sure that it is good before you walk away, or we see it on social media and I'm like, oh, my eyes were closed, or my shirt was hanging off, whatever the case may be. So I appreciate you. And I always, any event that I'm at, if you got a camera, I know that that shot is going to come out just right. And I don't have to worry about seeing it crazy, looking on somebody's social media. And that is important in this day and age of social media. You don't want anybody to be, look, your picture might have been clear, but what does that person look like in that photo as well? So I appreciate that you do that. And a lot of other people appreciate that too, because we talk. You know, the ladies all talk. We're like, oh, okay. Oh, yeah, no, come. He got the camera. Let's go over there. Because we know that you're going to take a great shot and that you're going to put it on an amazing platform too. So rounds of applause for you on that as well. So tell us, as a photographer, right, when you're out and you're taking pictures or hosting on the red carpet, what is your, if you were going to give 101 etiquette, what etiquette would you give to maybe an aspiring artist or entertainer about how to conduct themselves on the red carpet?
Focus on the task. So if you're there to shoot an event, shoot the event. If you're there to do interviews, do the interviews. So I would say focus on the task. A lot of people call me and say, hey, Walil, we sent the photographer to this event and we realized you was there. He missed all the good shots. Do you have any shots you could send us? I get a lot of those calls because their photographer missed a lot of shots. Because when you go to events, because they are events, people socializing, people talking, they might even be drinking. So they miss a lot of stuff. And me, when I'm there, I'm actually working. I'm not really partying and celebrating and enjoying myself.
Well, that brings me to another question. So as someone who is in media, you're there to do a job, right? And so if anybody is aspiring, I know right now, because social media, people are always looking for content and hiring photographers and things to do to grow people's brand. Remember, if you're getting hired for something, you've got to do what you got hired to do. So if you're there to take the pictures, like you said, you got to take the pictures. You can't get caught up in the free hors d'oeuvres or the free cocktails, things of that nature, because again, you're there to do a job. And I, again, give you your flowers because you are always on point. If the event starts at 6 o'clock, you are not rolling up at 6:15, 6:30. you are there 5:30. You're there early to make sure that things are set up. Where does that stem from?
Maybe Catholic school. I went to Catholic school when I was younger, or it could be my parents. I just always just had the discipline of being on time or really being early, but being prompt and being ready to go.
And that's so important. Event holders, I'm going to say it. Y'all be on time too. Your media team, we get there early, and a lot of times we're coming from one event to another event. Event planners, event coordinators, make sure y'all stick on time, because there are media people that do come. And if you tell us to be there at a certain time, we're there early and ready to go. Do the same for us. So I'm gonna say that. Walil ain't say that. He may not feel that way, but Tay feels that way, and I say it out of love, because a lot of times there's so many events that are going on at the same time, and you want to show everybody some love. So you might start your day and strategically plan. Okay, I'm gonna start off on the west side, and by the end of the day, I'm gonna be over here, just so then that way you can show everybody some love. How do you plan your day? Because you go to way more events than Tay does. Tay be outside, but while he'll be outside, you be outside. How do you balance your events?
Yeah, I add to that because that's a good point. I used to book them back to back, back to back, back to back, but I realized now maybe two, three at the top on
Mm-hmm.
the weekend, because a lot of events now they got a lot of private locations, so you don't know until last minute. So it's hard to coordinate, it's hard to juggle. It's kind of hard doing your scheduling because you may take an hour from Atlanta to get to Atlanta just based on the traffic, depending on where you're going. And when
Mm-hmm.
starting late, you get there early so you can get to the next spot, and they starting late. Then you don't waste the time going to the first event, and they starting late. So the time you was going to leave, they just getting started. So you just wasted that time.
Yeah, yeah. So that's smart. So anybody who is getting into media, he's just and hosting, that's a good nugget of information. Don't overbook yourself. Put yourself a maximum of events that you're going to do for that day or for that weekend. And then, Wally, what are your thoughts on selecting an event? So you get a list of 10 different events that are all going on this same day. How do you make your selection on which one you will choose to attend, and maybe which one you might sit out?
That's a good question. I really book it as it come in.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever come in, say today is Monday, I may go ahead and schedule for Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And then Friday, something else might come in that I'd rather do. But because I already committed to the first one that sent me the information is who usually get the priority time.
Mm-hmm. Again, a man of integrity, because like you said, it came in, it could be Susie Q's cookie sale, and they reached out and said, will you please come and cover the event? And if you say, yep, I'm gonna be there, you're gonna be there for those individuals, and that says a lot.
I'm gonna
As
add, I'm gonna add one thing with the photographers. What
Mm,
happens is, like, I charge $250 an hour when I'm doing photography, and a lot of times people may say, "Hey, that's high." But if you get a less experienced photographer or a cheaper paying photographer and say he's $100 an hour, $150 an hour, and he book you, now you
mhm,
get that phone call on that Saturday, and he got a client who really need a photographer and want to pay him much more. He's going to cancel on you and go to the higher paying client.
mhm.
And once I lock into somebody, I'm not canceling. I'm not coming up with excuses. Although I might have a $3,000 job that just came in because it's a corporate client and they need me there, but because I committed to the lower paying job and that's already booked, that's the one I'm gonna go ahead and do.
Hey, yeah. Well, and let's talk about that. So when we think about photography, when we think about hosts and people that cover events, um, I know in this day and age, everyone's got that cell phone, and your cell phone might take amazing photos. It could. You might be experienced and know how to do your angles and do everything to make that photo look great. But Walil, what is the importance of actually hiring a photographer versus depending on your cell phone or other non-professional devices?
I would say it's depending on your budget. So if you don't have the money to hire a photographer and you have to skim on photography, that I understand. But if it's your event and you want it memorable and you want to go back because pictures last, then you
Mm-hmm.
have to budget a photographer in, opposed to running around with the responsibility of taking pictures. Because
Right.
although you may know the angles, you may know how to take the pictures with your camera, you may not really have that skill to take a picture of someone because everyone don't want to be on picture. That's why I ask a lot of times, hey, you want to take this picture? Because
Mm,
sometimes people be places with people they shouldn't be or places where they shouldn't be. Sometimes people call out of work, they come to your event, and now you done snap their picture and it's on social media and the employers see it and they called out sick. So I also have the etiquette to ask people, hey, you cool with this picture? Before I take the picture,
mhm,
I just don't walk around snapping pictures.
mm. True story. I wish you were around 15 years ago. I went to a concert that I had called off of work for them, and I was having the time of my life, honey. I was smiling and just posing for the camera. And then my boss saw the pictures from the event. Well, I thought you were sick. I was busted. So, hey, I wish you were around back then during that experience. But that's a great etiquette for any photographer that might be watching. I think that is definitely a gem that others should pick up as well. Should pick up as well. So when you think of when you were younger, so you said you picked up the camera when you were 12, correct? Like back
Correct.
then, and
Mm-hmm.
taking family photos and all of that. What are your thoughts? Like as I look around my house right now, I am a picture person. I still print, put them in the frame because I think pictures do something to your home. It allows you to, kind of glance at a memory of a loved one or, people that you love. What are your thoughts about printing pictures? Because a lot of times now people just have you email them and then they put them on social media or whatnot. What are your thoughts about printing photos?
Yeah, normally most of my clients only want digital. No one really asks for prints.
Mm-hmm.
Now they may print it later on, but normally everything's social media, everything's online.
Mm-hmm.
So
So with the digital, what are your thoughts on photo creds, right? So a lot of us, we go to different events, we get photos, we know that we weren't the person that took that particular photo. What are your thoughts on ensuring that the photographer that took the shot gets credit or gets recognition for the shot?
to most photographers, it's important. To me, it's not as important. Actually, I did a photo shoot over the weekend. And it was with models, and I
Mm-hmm.
sent them the pictures without even putting the watermark on there because I didn't really care.
Mm-hmm.
For me, it's not that big of a deal. But it also, for me, it depends on who the photo is, and if I really want to expand in that business. I'm not really my focus isn't really models. So if the
Mm-hmm.
model give me credit or don't give me credit, I don't really mind because I'm not trying to expand in that field. But if it's something like radio or movies or entertainment, then I would prefer it. But I still don't really because I see my pictures in news articles and magazines and stuff, but I don't really make a fuss out of it.
Oh, see, well, he's the sweetest, y'all. I'm telling y'all, you just have a passion for doing what you love to do. And so you do this full time. So me, I work corporate and then I do media on the weekends and as sometimes during the week, just depending on the different events. So how did you get into this full time? Because this is your full time. This is what you do 7 days a week or at your this is your full everything because I'm not going to say 7 days a week because you're a full-time entrepreneur and I'm sure you make your own schedule and all those good things.
I don't know. I guess
You
when
just
I yeah, I'm a little more subtle. So some people want to do 10,000 things and just stay busy, 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 and have 10 different hats or 20 different hats. I really just rather not do all those things.
mm-hmm.
So I'm more at the point where I just want to kind of keep the stress level down. So that's why I don't really care about the photo credits. And a lot of things I just try to go easy with it to minimize any stress that I have to deal with, because dealing with all of this is stress. Again, you get there at 6, they tell you to be there at 6. For example, I got a graduation shoot on Saturday. Friday or Saturday, I got to look at the schedule because they just called today. They
Mm-hmm.
only want to book me for 30 minutes because they really don't want to pay for the hour. But I'm letting them know 9 out of 10 times the graduation is not going to start on time. Even an hour for a graduation, chances are they're going to need me longer than that.
Mm-hmm.
So I try to stress that to people and be prepared to pay extra if it goes over, because if you only paid me for 30 minutes, I'm only there for 30 minutes. If you only pay me for an hour, I'm out of there in an hour, and I don't want no hard feelings. Sometimes I feel bad because it's almost like people say, I wasted my money. Yeah, but that's my time that's involved.
Ooh, I wish I had the hand clap emoji right now because I would hand clap on that. Um, because you do provide a luxury service. You know, if people feel like photography hosting is a luxury service, right? However, in my personal opinion, like you said earlier, photographers capture that memory so that it lasts. That you capture that moment so that it lasts. If you're an event, if you're taking pictures for an event, your photography lets others know, hey, I missed it on last week, but I probably definitely want to check it out the next time they have an event based off of the photographer or the pictures that are circulated on social media. So for that, your time is valuable because you're helping promote another business, another brand, another event, and your time is precious. It is. So how do you put a price on your time for someone who's watching this that might be struggling to make that to put a price on their time?
It's a lot of different approaches that you could take. The most common approach is you take your expenses and you take what you need to make revenue wise, and that's how you divide it up, and that's what you charge. So depending on what you need to make for that week, depending on how much time you put into it. So it's a unique formula. For me, I do it kind of based by the job, and I put a cap as far as the time. So if I finish in 30 minutes, say you just need some quick headshots, maybe 5 good headshots. If I do that in 15 minutes, I'm done. But I cap it at an hour just in case you don't know how to pose, in case it takes longer to pose with you, in case we got to get certain angles and keep doing retakes. But I put a cap on it for an hour. But I really don't do it by the hour because you may have me doing too much within 1 hour, and I don't want to rush. You may want to do 6 clothing changes in the hour and say, well, I paid you by the hour. So it's not really good to really book by the hour, but you can keep the time frame for the hour so you're not there longer than the hour or the time expected.
No, I love that. That's a see, he's wisdom. So anybody who is watching this either live or if you happen to watch it on the replay, I've got Mr. Walil Archer. He is Atlanta's favorite cameraman and the host of the Real Rap Radio Show that shows every Saturday on It's Hot Downtown. No, I don't want to mess it up. It's Downtown Radio.
Downtown Hot Radio.
Hot radio because it's hot, it's smoking, it's on fire. And so I wanted to bring him on because, again, we have real conversations with real people that you should know. And somebody watching this live or watching the playback of this, you may have dreams and aspirations of getting into photography or maybe getting into radio or a host, hosting events and things like that. And so I wanted you all to meet someone who I personally think is phenomenal. I watch you show up at events. You are a one-man show where a lot of people, you've got to have a camera person. You got to have the host. You got to have this. You do it all in one. If you've been to any red carpets in Atlanta, he is the one show. And you do it so expeditiously. How did you come up with your method? Because those that are watching are like, yes, he always it's the side talk on the red carpet about how you get things and you're your own one-man show. So how did that come to be?
Well, I got to shout out Tanya. Tanya actually does my photography work. You seen her last night. You spoke to
Yes,
her actually last night.
Yes.
So yeah, I got to shout out Tanya because she does the photography, so she'll capture a lot of the pictures for me. So right now, I'm just really focusing on doing the interviews.
Mm-hmm.
So
And so just doing the just knowing enough that, hey, I can't do it all by myself. You got to delegate. Would you say that? You got to have an epiphany to say, okay, which one am I going to do? Am I going to focus on the photography, or am I going to focus on the hosting, depending on the event? Because I've seen you some instances where you're not interviewing and all you're doing is working the room, capturing the photos for everyone. So again, I would assume it just depends on what you're hired for that particular event.
correct. Like I said, I cut back, but certain events, I might do the photos first. Well, I might do the interviews first, then do the photos, and then capture some video while I'm there. But I try to really just focus on one because, again, I'm trying to keep the stress level down, keep a
Mm-hmm.
balance on having peace in my life and just being comfortable. So I just did a grand opening for someone that just opened up their real estate company. He's like, hey, since you're doing the photos while you're here, can you do the videos? Nah, I'd rather you hire someone else, or I bring in a videographer and let him focus on the videos. So when
Mm-hmm.
the video guy came, he was like, man, he wanted, he said, I'm glad he didn't want me to do the photos too, because when they was doing a ribbon cutting at the end, which one would I get? Would I get the pictures or would I get the
Right.
videos? I said, yeah. I said, all it takes is the time to explain it to the customer. But
Mm-hmm.
sometimes the customer is not still long enough. They're not listening. But in his case, he was a good customer. He understood and listened. Hey, let's get two separate people to handle it. But it goes back to people budget. A lot of times, for some reason, photography and videography is something they want, but they don't understand the importance of it until they pay somebody cheap labor and then they get the product and then they like, man, look at this. And they're not satisfied.
Because you can't get it back. It's not, even though they got Photoshop and all type of things, if that photo is not on point, you can't react that moment. It's done and over with. So if you're having an event, budget. So if you are planning, just like you would plan a wedding, graduation party, baby shower, budget for your photography with
Yep.
whatever is within your budget. If you are thinking about opening up a business,
Yep.
budget in your media, your photography. Keep that as a long-standing budget, because when you have a grand opening, you're going to capture some shots, and then those are going to be the things that you're going to use for your promo. But then you always want to keep your content and your photography current. So get someone that you can hire that understands your vision, that understands the point that you're trying to get across to your clients or your customers, and then build that relationship with them. So then that way you're getting a good, product. Because in this day and age, word of mouth, yes, but a lot of it has to do with what people see when they go to your website or go to your social media, and that picture and that content is going to say a lot about that. What are your thoughts about that, Walil?
Yeah, I'm gonna add a quick scenario to that. I had a new customer come to me and they wanted me to shoot. They're doing a web series and they wanted me to shoot the web series, so I quoted them the 250 per hour. Now I
Mm-hmm.
understood that I'm a new photographer to them, videographer, and they didn't really know what they were going to get or feel comfortable. So they said, "Hey, can you do it for 200?" So as a promo price, as an introduction price, I gave it to them for 200. I shot it, and then about a week later or two, they reached out to me and they sent me the other people work, and like three other people work that was really bad quality, but I don't talk bad about other people work. And she asked me, why do yours look so clear and sound so great and theirs look like that? I said, I don't know. I didn't want to badmouth them. I said, I don't know, maybe in my mind, I'm thinking maybe because that's what you paid them for, so they're going to give you minimum. But in my
Mm-hmm.
case, I came out with the good equipment, I came out with the lights, and I came out with the good setup. So the better the production, the more equipment you have, the better the product ought to be. But
Mm-hmm.
sometimes the prices that people want to pay, you come out with the least amount of equipment. No one's bringing all these lights, bringing all these cameras, and you're only paying a little bit of money.
Right. They want it to look like Love and Hip Hop Atlanta on airing on BET, VH1, all those different states, but they want to pay $2. Well, you got to figure out, again, know your budget. If you want to film if you want to be a model, do your research and know your budget. Research your photographer, research your videographer, so that you understand the quality of what they're producing. Because again, I've seen so many people, I've been a part of that, where I'm like, oh yeah, that's a good price. And when you get it, you end up spending more. Because once that money gone, you will have to hire somebody else to get what you really wanted. So sometimes going the higher end in the beginning, in my opinion, can save you in the long run. But that's just my 2 cents. That's just what Tay think. Y'all do what y'all want to do. I'm just trying to help, because we have real conversations with real people that you should definitely know. So between music and photography, which one is Walil's favorite?
Between music and photography, I'm gonna lean towards the photography.
What? I would have got that wrong. Okay. Why'd you pick the photography?
Because I love the creativity in it, and I can always go back and look at it. And depending on what I'm shooting, I just love the camera. I just love capturing that image. I
Okay.
just love expressing myself through the lens.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay. So people want to know, because I've asked a few people some questions and they said, okay, all right. I said, give it to me, give it to me, give it to me. They want to know, on your way going to an event, what are you bumping in the car? Or do you ride in silence?
I'm riding in silence. I'm riding in silence.
Wait. Um, you're riding in silence, and why do you elect to ride in silence on your way going to the event?
Preparation, because I do most of it by myself, like the videoing and the interviewing and the production of all of that. In my mind, I'm going through the checklist. Did I get this light? Is this battery charged up? What am I need? Like last night, for example, the event we did last night, I brought 2 sets of lights. I brought one in case I wanted to plug in, and then I brought a second set, which was cordless, just in case it was somewhere where I didn't want to run cords or wasn't an outlet. So in my mind, I'm going through all the checklists. How long will I be there? How many batteries do I have? How big is the
Mm,
SD card to hold that? And I'm just strategizing everything. Where am I going? Then I'm clocking time. All right, when I leave here, where do I have to go next? Okay, what is the distance between the two? Let me check on the traffic. So I'm always strategizing and preparation.
okay. All right. Well, hey, I understand. I drive in silence unless I do an Uber and then they be talking to me. And sometimes I'm like, hey, thanks, but no thanks. I just want to have peace and quiet. And I ride on the way going home in silence too. Maybe that's odd, but just because you just want to kind of have that woosah, like how did it go? Did I grab everything? Did I happen to leave something? So I can appreciate your checklists and that driving in silence. So point for me. Haha, I told somebody, I hope they're watching, I should tag them, that I said that you would drive in silence. I said, I bet you he drives in silence. But when you're getting ready at home, because you're the Real Rap Radio show host, what are you jamming to at home?
If I'm listening to music, depending on the mood that I'm in.
Oh,
If I'm in a slow mood where I just want to relax, I more so may go with chemistry,
okay.
Frankie Beverly and Mays, Stephanie Mills, Anita Baker. I more so go R&B.
Okay.
If I'm want to do some cleaning and I want some hypeness, then I do the hip hop. Maybe
Okay.
maybe Jeezy, Future, Two Chains, Young
Okay.
Thug.
All right, 2 Chains. All right, 2 Chains. Well, I love it. I love it. I love it. Well, where can people follow you on social media, if they want to know more and make sure that they check out all the amazing footage that you have of interviews and people that you've interviewed? How can they follow you?
Walil, spelled Walil, Archer, Archer, on all social media. So that's all social media. And the email address is walil@walilarcher.com.
I love it. I love it. I love it. And y'all make sure that you tune in to the Real Rap Radio Show And it's on all major platforms. So how can they stream it, or is there an app? Tell them how they can listen.
Yep, they can download the mobile app, Downtown Hot Radio. They go to the website, downtownhotradio.com. We have a phone number where you can call and listen on your phone, which is 351-999-5225. If you have the TuneIn app, you go to TuneIn app, type in Downtown Hot Radio.
All right. Well, y'all make sure that you check it out. Walil Archer, I appreciate you for coming and trusting me to come on Live with Tay. You are always welcomed, and thank you. We want to give you your flowers for just the amazing work that you do and the interviews that you do and all that good stuff. So y'all make sure, follow him, support him, book him, because you won't go wrong by hiring Walil Archer. So thank y'all so much for tuning in with Live with Tay. Make sure that you tune in tomorrow night. We'll be back with Maurice P. Carey, an actor, and he's going to give us some insight on the acting world, because y'all know I be trying to put y'all down with amazing people that you should definitely know. So thank y'all so much for tuning in, and make sure that you share this with a friend, a cousin, a neighbor, whoever. And thank y'all so much for tuning in. Until next time, y'all. Peace.
Thanks for having me.